Patreon. Mr. J. Johns, the asker of all the questions. Would you smack that dummy on the head?
No. No.
Thank you.
I don't. No, you're not coming and licking me
Yeah.
after you've been eating poop.
Sitting here licking chicken poop. Hey, you want kisses? No. Ugh, gosh. Go away, dog. Mr. J. Johns, why not just roll over and die? The end.
It's not in our blood.
Yeah, I mean,
I know that.
That's a great point. Go ahead, honey.
I think if SHTF happens, there's definitely gonna be people in this world. They're like,
Yep.
just
I'm out.
yep, roll over and die. Like, I ain't got nothing. I ain't got no fight. But I know for us, that type of attitude is not in our blood. We don't just give up. And so I think that question relates more to an individual's type of personality. Are you the type that's just gonna if you're here on Patreon, I doubt you're that type.
Yeah. Or you are, and you just have $1 that you don't know what to do with.
Right.
So you're like, I'll give 3 cents a day to tea and homie.
But it's it's a deep conviction to just. We've had failures, lots. We've had tons of obstacles, and at every single one of those, we could have said, I give up.
I'm out.
Screw it.
I'm out.
We're done. But that's not who we are.
I think part of it is understanding your sense of purpose. Why are you here? Right? Like, I know why I'm here. And part of it is, for me, a big part of it is honoring those that came before us and honoring those that are going to come after us. Like, I'm big on legacy. I've discussed this many a time here on this channel. It's not just about me, bro. Mm-hmm. Now, this is positions of strength. In the micro, it is about me, because if I'm not good,
nobody.
Nope.
Well,
yeah. If I'm not good, nobody's good. I can't help anybody else, right? I have to be able to keep myself squared away, not for my own benefit, although that's certainly, that's a good byproduct. It's a positive effect, right? Me being good is good for me. But then what do I do with that good for me? I'm good for me so that I can be good for everybody else.
Right.
And if I'm not being good for everybody else, I'm abusing the privilege of me, myself, being good. And so understanding that positions of strength argument and understanding why are you here? It's very straightforward for me, because in the macro, I'm here to put a smile on the Father's face and to hear the words, good job, well done, good and faithful servant. Like, you did the things. They weren't perfect, right? That's why you have an intercessor. That's why we have the atoning sacrifice of Messiah. But to the best of your ability, you did the things.
Right.
So, and then in the micro, it's like, why not roll over and die? Because I got a wife and 3 kids and a grandma who depends on me. Because I got a mom and a dad and sisters and brothers, and I got a tribe and a mag and a team and stupid sheep that got to get fed, and creeks that need cleaned out, and a gazebo to build, and why not just roll over and die? And because it's the same argument of, all right, well, if this whole place is gonna go to hell in a handbasket, let it go to hell in a handbasket now, while I can still do something about it. Because it's my responsibility. I don't want to just maintain this place. I want to improve this place, whether it's this piece of land or this world. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to pass the buck to somebody else. If this place is more of a crap hole than it was when I got here, I failed.
Right.
Like, it needs to be better than it was when I got here, or I'm not getting it done. Like, I didn't pass my own test.
But you do have a lot of people, like, Christians that, well, I'm not going to prepare. I'm not going to be prepared because when that day comes, I'm going to be with Jesus. And
That's a great point.
like,
You are, but it might be somebody else sending you there.
right. And if you look historically at the Bible, nowhere in the Bible do people just give up.
Well, not only that, but listen, Joseph, Mitzrayim, Egypt, was sustained through 7 years of famine, not because the father showed up on his magical clouds and rained food from the sky, but because he told Joseph, stack food to the rafters, bro. Okay? Like, the Hebrews were not removed from Egypt, from Mitzrayim, solely because the father performed these miracles. He tapped Moses on the shoulder and said, look, you're going to go speak truth to power. This is going to be, you thought the Declaration of Independence was the ultimate breakup letter? Let's go check this out. Hey, we got this guy with an anger management issue and a stutter. We're going to go have him talk to the most powerful man on earth. And that's what gets the ball rolling. And so I think it's human action that creates the opportunity for the Father to make himself manifest here on earth. Not that he can't, not that he needs us to do that, but there's a synthesis in that we're doing our half so that he does his half. And yeah, you might be sustained by the Father during end times, but that sustainment is probably going to look like some crazy tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist prepper who's got a barn full of food taking care of your broke ass because you didn't do it yourself. And not that I'm passionate about this or anything. But yeah, I think that's a very misguided, and I don't think Jay Johns is saying this, but I think that your point is true. I think it's a very misguided modern Christian interpretation of what end times are going to look like. Not saying that these are end times, but it certainly could be.
Well, but I think that that's their mindset is,
Uh-huh.
I'm just going to roll over and die and wait for the Father to come get me. Like,
yeah, but what about those Christians in Syria that are having their heads cut off by these Ishmaelite Muslims? And where's the rapture for them? Where's the rapture for them? I've said it 100 times and I'll say it 1,000 more before I die. The bravest man on earth was the second guy. After they cut the first guy's head off, they said, all right, who here believes in Yeshua Messiah as your savior? The first guy went, I do. And they take that dull knife and they drag it across his neck and sever his head and kick him into a ditch. And they go, who else? I do. That guy has got stones the size of basketballs. That's conviction. And if there's no rapture for those people who are literally in their end times, who the hell am I to expect something like that? And the long and short of it is, I don't. And I was just talking with the brother about this at Shofar recently. Okay, if that does happen, we'll be pleasantly surprised. That'll be cool. Oh, hey, yeah, this is all. We didn't have to prepare for anything.
Right.
The Father's absolutely going to take care of all of this, by his hand. Okay, awesome. And we'll be gathered up into the sky. Great. However, the downside of that not being the case and not preparing, of rolling over and dying, whether it's through just being passive about all this and not taking action, or literally, this is too hard, I'm going to put a gun in my mouth and remove myself from the situation. Yeah, I'm not interested in any of that, and I don't think that there's a biblical onus for any of that.
well, like, me personally, my life is important.
Amen.
Like, I'm not just gonna give up. I'm gonna fight for my right to live.
Yeah, I mean, why were you created?
Exactly.
Not so you could just give up when
Right.
things get hard.
Yeah.
The Father, the Father doesn't put us into these situations because he wants to see us fail. It's because he wants us to get our asses kicked and fall on our knees and raise our face to the sky and scream for help and create an opportunity for us to willingly invite him into our life so that we can have this synthesis between, his ultimate power and authority and our boots on the ground here, right? And there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. There's a reason that every one of us was fearfully and wonderfully made in his image, and that we find ourselves here at this time. None of that's coincidence. And so I think it's just really, although there are times that it, rolling over and dying does emotionally seems like it makes sense. I mean, I've talked about this a few times. I mean, I know what it feels like to scrape your teeth on a 12 gauge barrel. Okay. I'm not unfamiliar with that. And it has certainly crossed my mind at times, but there were times of weakness, and praise the Father that I'm still here. Because if I wasn't, think of all the downstream effects that have manifested themselves in just a glorious and awesome way from me being here and trying to do the will of the Father if I hadn't been here. Right? And so why not roll over and die? The short answer, because there's people depending on me, and I'm a part of a much bigger plan than my own. Right? And willfully removing myself from the battlefield is probably the worst thing that could possibly happen. Taking myself out of the fight, that's unacceptable. And in our weakness his strength is made manifest. And so I think you're really missing an opportunity for all types of blessings by giving up when things get hard.
Yep. Absolutely. Because that's when you get your biggest blessings, is whenever you conquer that obstacle. You say, hell no, I'm not giving up.
Yep.
That's when you get blessings. And it's just, and it might take, there's been times we've been just bombarded. I mean, just like crappy thing after crappy thing after crappy thing. Just wham, wham, wham. And, when when it's one thing, that's a little easier to just, brush it off, get up. When it's just bam, 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 that takes a lot more. But I know, like, through our lives, time and time again, every time we've overcome those obstacles, no matter how hard they were, the reward in the end was like, wow.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, like, I'd do it all over again.
Yeah. I've gotten to the point now where when a difficulty arises, I look at it in the sense of, all right, Father, what are you brewing on the other side of this? Like, it's like, I know that there's something awesome waiting at the finish line of this particular evolution and on this proving ground. This whole thing is an obstacle course, guys.
Yeah.
Like, that's what this is. And one of the biggest lies that we've been sold by the enemy is that, no, it's not. We're not in a war. This isn't training. You don't need to do these things. You don't need to worry about that. You just sit on your couch and eat Doritos and drink Mountain Dew and watch the Idiot Box, right? This whole thing is an obstacle course. But when you get to the end of the O course, it's like, that there's something magnificent waiting there for you. And in the macro and in the micro. Like, I know at the end of this temporal life, there's something that's beyond words waiting for me. And I know that at the end of these temporal struggles and strifes that we go through, that there's always a blessing on the other side of it. And it's being mindful of that and trusting in the Father in the process, in the moment, that this isn't, even if it is spiritual attack, why? Well, I'm attacked because I'm valuable. Why am I valuable? Not for me, for him. Okay, I must be doing something right. And I'm going to add this just because I have a conviction to add it. I talk with a lot of people, and there's a lot of testimony in and amongst the assemblies and the churches that we fellowship with now. You've had health issues, right? A lot of wives have had health issues, and men, I'm telling you, when the enemy can't get us, he gets our women. That's the next place that he goes. Because if he can separate us from our wives, he will. And because we're supposed to derive comfort and strength and power from one another, and we're supposed to be, we're two corners of the triangle. It's the two of us and the Father, right? And you can break that up.
You can break that bond.
Yep.
It weakens both.
Oh yeah, and it
I mean,
weakens your trust in the Father as well.
Yep. It has a domino effect.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So you should, and I'm saying that just because I have a conviction to say it. You should be praying over your women, and you should be thankful for them. And you should understand that if we're going to acknowledge that, yeah, this is warfare and we're on the obstacle course right now, okay. The asymmetrical warfare here, the asymmetric warfare is if you can't get me, who else are you going to take out? My wife, my kids, my family, my tribe, right?
Yeah.
And that's where positions of strength really make sense, is I have to be good because I've got all these other things that I have to constantly be protecting, providing for, and affecting positive change on, so that nothing can come against us. And when I learn how to wield his authority, not my authority, it's much less of an issue, because the vast majority of things that would come against us don't even try. And then those things that do, we know how to deal with, because we've figured out his will for our life, not our will for our life. And yeah,
I'll be right back.
yeah, go look. So why not just roll over and die? Because you were fearfully and wonderfully created in the image of the Most High to do his things, whatever those things would be, not your things. Even sometimes when your things are putting a weapon in your mouth and pulling the trigger, or just letting it happen. You got to understand your purpose, so you understand why you're fighting. And if you don't know what that is, I would beseech you to ask the Father, and he will tell you. You got anything to add, baby?
No.
No.
I think we touched
We
on
did
it.
the things.
Yeah.
Good job. Shalom.
Good question.
Yeah, that was a good question.